everyone. Welcome to today's episode of 10-Minute Marketing. I'm your host, Sonja Crystal Williams. So today I have a guest joining us, SirDarryl Roundtree. And SirDarryl, you have got a background in logistics. You are basically the logistics expert. When I think of logistics, I think of you. I didn't know what 3PL or 4PL meant until I met you. So y'all, we're here today to talk to SirDarryl about his company, ZipShip, and how he's been able to grow that company in such a short period of time and what's been working for you in your business. So thanks for being here, SirDarryl.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I'm glad to hear that the learning stuck, right? 3PL and 4PL. So thank you for that.
That's right. No, I think that's huge. So for those of you that haven't heard of that terminology, I think it's important to know it, particularly if you're in the e-commerce space. So SirDarryl, I want to ask you to kind of just tell us more about what ZipShip does in that space.
Sure. So ZipShip is a full service third-party logistics company. So let me explain full service first. So full service means that we have kind of everything that you would need from a third-party logistics provider. We've got warehousing, we handle storage, we handle fulfillment, and we handle logistics. So we do have an in-house freight brokerage, which means that we're able to coordinate container pickups from different ports. We're also able to coordinate different inbound shipments if you need something shipped from a manufacturer to us. And then from our warehouse to either a distribution center, we can ship directly to a customer, or we can ship directly to a retailer. So we're pretty much able to handle all of your warehousing services in-house.
Got you. So you all are like the behind the scenes team. If I had a clothing company or a jewelry company, then I get my product to you, and then you all take care of everything that needs to happen to get it in front of a customer. Is that right?
That is correct. We're, believe it or not, we're the block in between your website and the customer. So, and if everything is done correctly, it should be seamless.
The hidden middleman.
Yes.
Invisible. Got it. Okay. So your background, let's talk a little bit about your background. Mm-hmm. You were in logistics prior to launching ZipShip. Is that right?
That is correct. I'm definitely going to date myself here, but I've been in logistics for 20 plus years. Kind of amazing to even say that. But
you're not dating yourself. I've been in marketing and sales 20 plus. So hey, that's all right.
We're contemporaries, right? There you go. But yeah, a really deep background in supply chain. So supply chain, is everything from like raw materials, manufacturing, distribution, logistics, and returns. So it is like I like to say, supply chain is from the manufacturer to the shelf. It's everything. A lot of customers don't think about like how do my items actually get to me or get to the shelf in the store. And really, COVID brought supply chain to the forefront. So when we started to see shelves empty of paper towels, toilet paper, masks, and all those different things, there was a significant interruption in supply chain. So kind of back to my background, I started in manufacturing with the food and beverage company, spent about 10 years there. And it was a large Fortune 50 company. And really, I credit that time of my life with just a thirst and hunger for knowledge in the supply chain space. Going into an environment where the processes and the documentation was very rigid and the expectations were high from a performance standpoint. We really learned like the deep ins and outs of the business that we operated in. And then after that, I had a good friend of mine reach out, and she needed some assistance kind of getting connected to a retailer, and it was something I was familiar with, and that was the birth of ZipShip, because she had a 3PL provider that was not invisible in the process. So there were a lot of interruptions, a lot of customer complaints, a lot of lost inventory, missing products, missing orders. So just a lot of red flags. And I said, well, until we find someone else, I'll take on the fulfillment and just kind of do it out of my house. And that was the birth and origin of ZipShip. So one person turned into two people, which turned into four, turned into eight. And next thing you know, I had a dozen clients that I was providing service for.
Are you still working out of the home?
No, no, I'd probably be a divorced man if I was still working working out of the home. So it quickly exploded. So I had a lot of inventory with that one client, and then as I added more, I started looking around and say, okay, well, I got to find a small warehouse. So
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to find a small warehouse. It was about 3,000 square feet, in not far from home. It was in Mableton, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
um, a 5 minute drive from home, and it served its purpose. It had
Yeah.
office space, had about 3,000 square feet. This was at the onset of COVID, so this was
Mm-hmm.
2019, right? And what was happening was the e-commerce market was being pushed by COVID. Folks being at home, and they got,
Shopping.
yeah, shopping, right? They had the
Yeah.
uh, what are they called, the relief checks. They had the government relief checks, and they
Oh, yeah,
were.
that's true. I forgot about those already.
How could you forget, right?
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, so there was all this disposable income available, and
yeah.
folks were lighting Amazon and their favorite online retailers up. So there was a significant surge in e-commerce businesses. Like a lot of folks, started making hair care products at home, and doing
Mm-hmm.
knitting and just all types of things. And we benefited from that. So our customer base continued to grow, and it forced us to move into another location. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Went from 3,000 square feet to 12,000 square feet in, I think, 2020. And
Wow.
the momentum just kept going. It just kept going, and we moved from 12,000 feet to 18,000 square feet. And
Wow.
at this point, I know I connected with the Go Getter team, um, and this was when we really started to build out some marketing. So prior to that, it had been, our growth strategy had been primarily word of mouth and purely
Mm-hmm.
relationships, which are two methods that I still really strongly believe in.
Mm-hmm.
But then we started to add the marketing piece. So we revamped our website. We were, you and I, we were talking about the flow, right, from the keyword search and SEO, right. Um, so we implemented those forms, and really started to see a boost. And changing
Mm-hmm.
the website, honestly, it changed our credibility, right? Because the
Yeah.
website was really done nicely. It was clean. It had all the right content. It
Mm-hmm.
flowed well. The color scheme, the palette was nicely done. We had a really good logo. And what started to happen is we started to receive interest from larger clients. So it was
Okay.
not only the startup crew, the startup solopreneurs and different things, but it started to be like businesses, like local businesses, and some larger entities.
Wow. So if I were to map this journey, it was like 20, 2018, 2019 or so, that first friend came to you.
Hmm.
So someone you knew, relationship, which is still huge. I always tell people it's great. And, I specialize in helping people with online marketing, but nothing, nothing, nothing replaces the relationships you have, the face-to-face communication, getting out and putting yourself in front of people, especially in startup phase. But to map out what happened with you, so 2019-ish, 2018-ish, you start, and then you said it quickly multiplied through relationships, word of mouth. This person told that person, this e-commerce business owner told that one. And then by 2020, it was like, whoa, and COVID helped, which is good. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and it really is a great story. I mean, the nights that I sit up kind of worrying about what's next, I reflect back to the story, kind of, you know, my barber said something to me, and it was really profound. It was, he said, D, the person you are today is preparing you for the person that you're going to be tomorrow. And it's an endless cycle of that. So, when we talk about relationships and we talk about investing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
The person that you are today is a result of the investment that you made yesterday and the week prior and the year prior, and you're
Yeah. So
starting to see that manifestation now. And the person that you are today, if you're continuing to invest in yourself and your business, you're going to be a different person tomorrow, next
mm-hmm.
week, next year, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a constant cycle. And the other thing that you mentioned, that I'm a beyond a firm believer in relationships, but I truly believe relationships are the one of the master keys to any type of success. Whether doesn't matter if you're entrepreneurship, if you're if you're an athlete, if you're in corporate America, like relationships are the cornerstone for your success. Because what happens as as your message gets out there, as your connection and your energy gets out there, folks remember who you are, and how you make them feel, whether or not you're able to service them, or
Yeah.
just if you have good good positive vibes with them, they always come back. Oh, that guy, he does warehousing, or they know that, okay, he has a warehouse, so he's the warehouse guy. If I got a question, I can go back to him. And that's really been, and it still is a part of our growth strategy, is just you know getting more out there, getting in front of people, not speaking or anything like that, but I do attend a lot of networking shows,
Mm-hmm.
shows, some Modex and different things,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and just introduce myself to to a lot of different individuals, and share and exchange info, and we talk about problems and things that are going on in the market. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times it comes back full circle, two,
Yeah.
three, 4 times.
And I want to harp on that for a second, because some people will think when they're growing their business, and another person will say, hey, get out there. They think, I have to get on a stage, I have to speak. And you said, I don't get on stages necessarily and speak. I'm just a participant, but you're making the connections. So let's talk about the how and making those connections. Okay, so you exchange info, right? But
Hmm.
what does that really look like for you when you go home with 10 business cards from a networking event or an industry conference that you attended? What happens? Because some people, the business cards are in a pile. So what happens in Sir Daryl's house with the business cards?
Got it. And I'm really happy to share this, and maybe it'll help somebody. So I have a hard and fast rule, right? When I take business cards, I give myself 24 hours. So within 24 hours, doesn't matter if my business card stack is one person, or five, or whatever, right? I need to get a message, a thank you message,
Mm-hmm.
within 24 hours. So if I take a business card, I'll make some notes. I will make a concerted effort to respond within 24 hours. That means I just came back from the National Retail Federation up in New York, right? So I
Okay.
probably had 20 or 30 business cards. So what that looks like is, when I got back to the hotel, every day it was a 3 event. Every day I got back, I had 5 or 6 business cards. I would, I cheat a little bit now. Now I use Chat GPT to come up with the
That's
come
good.
up with
That's all right.
at least the framework for the email. And of course, I'll change it and modify it, but I come up with the email. Hey, it was great to meet you. Really enjoyed the synergy and the discussion. And I send that email, and I also include a Calendly link. So say, hey, it was great connecting. I know we talked about setting up some time to talk, but I'll include my Calendly link, so that they can actually follow up. And hey, yeah, I want to connect. Let's set up a meeting, and follow up, and reconnect to further the discussion. So that piece is really been successful for me. It's really it does a couple things, like from a I know we talk about relationships and kind of being what's the word I'm looking for, authenticity, right?
Yeah.
And you know the, folks value time, and if you're respectful of folks time, and you connect, and you got that good positive vibe, from that
Mhm.
initial interaction. And when folks see that you're authentic, and hey, we met, I want to make sure we keep the connection hot, keep it alive, you reach out quickly. That
Right.
goes a long way. I mean,
Yep.
it really does. And I've had multiple people, when they do reply to an email, they say, hey, I really appreciate the fact that you that you kept the continuity going. That says a lot, and it means a lot. And those relationships, just continue forward. So
Mhm.
respond in 24 hours is the first rule that I
Okay.
follow. The second one is authenticity. Go into the relationship, authentic, your
Mhm.
true self. That be my second rule. And third rule is following up, and just
Yeah.
keeping the connection alive. And whether that's certainly not daily, because that's probably too too aggressive, but after the initial conversation, maybe a week, then 2 weeks, and then you kind of let it tail off if
Yeah.
there's nothing really brewing. And
Yeah.
those rules have really helped me grow the business, helped me build new relationships. And I got a quick story.
Mhm.
It's helped like scale relationships. And what I mean by scale is, let's say you meet a person, and at the time it's not a good fit for you and that person to kind of move forward, but it's a good connection, good relationship. And that person runs into someone else that has a need, and they're able to say, oh, I just met somebody that works in this space. Let me refer
Yeah.
you to. um, so here recently, I'll do kind of a shameless plug, but we just started a new relationship with international supply partners, and they're an industrial supply company. Well, they just secured a very large RFP with a large enterprise level client, and they were looking for support, looking for a resource. Well, a person that I met, maybe 3 weeks ago, introduced me to the CEO of International Supply Partners. And through that introduction, through that relationship, we're now going to partner with ISP and supporting that RFP. So just that's a quick testament to the power of relationships, through the power of genuine connection, through
Yep.
just looking to be a resource, looking to be of service, and looking to support the entrepreneur network. There's a lot of opportunities that can come through that method.
Absolutely. And you're talking about email as kind of the tech part of how you're nurturing those relationships. And I always tell clients and friends and associates that when you're running a business, like after you do those steps you talked about, which I love that you have a framework for how you're approaching it. The final step, yes, is like you said, like you're going to directly email those people. And then eventually, if you're checking in with them, you don't hear anything, put them in your email list. You know, if as long as your email list isn't sending out a daily email, if you send out an email every other week or once a month and it's high value and informational. That was one of the first things I did when I started growing my marketing agency. When I would meet people at events, and when I contacted them, I would say, is it okay if I also put you on my email list? I dropped some really great information. And I really didn't really get anyone that said no, So most
Right.
people are open to that, as long as, and I would give them the heads up. So that's really sound advice. There's one more topic I want to talk about, and that is you also mentioned that you you initially launched without, let's just say branding in place, right? The logo, the color scheme, and all that. So that came in retrospect for you a couple of years into the business. And then once you got there, that has worked for you as well. I want to talk about that a little bit too. Um,
Mhm.
and just kind of the value of that. So for you, what is that? What are the steps, I guess I would say, investment wise? And you and I work closely together when you were in that phase, of course, but just from your point of view as the business owner, how did you
Mhm.
look at, hey, I got to get a website up and I'm hoping that this website will deliver some leads to me? What did that look like for you?
So during that time, it was certainly hire an expert, right? So at the time, we were still in growth phase within the business, so there was a lot of activity. I was still very very much hands on in like the day to day operation. Even though we were training new associates, we had still building the team, still very very much hands on with like the day to day operation. And at the end of the day, I made some attempts to try to like do a website and some of
Mm-hmm.
the marketing things, and just quickly realized like, okay, this is not my area of expertise, and I know it. And working with you all, I had a very clear, I had a really clear understanding of kind of what the process is, what we're going to do, what the anticipated outcome, we reasonably expect, right? And the results were there, right? We started with the website, we started building out the social media platform. We had a posting calendar, and just you guys were really good at walking me through the process, telling me what's going to happen, actually making it happen, and then we get together and review the results and then adjust. And for us, the return on investment was certainly there, but I definitely say to my fellow entrepreneurs, like, as much as we like to try to create with our own hands, and it is cost effective, the other thing you have to look at is time. And it's one thing if you have the time, to invest, to because you got to learn it. You got to spend time learning the learning the language, so to speak, the
Yeah.
marketing language, right? Digital marketing language, and the customer profiles and the customer personas. And so, at the end of the day, it's worth the investment to kind of save yourself some time and energy, and paying an expert to help you develop in the areas that you're not strong in. And I'd say even before that, like, you really got to be honest with yourself and just say, this isn't my strong suit.
Yeah.
Let me rely
Don't
on.
try to do it all.
But entrepreneurs, we think we have a Superman, Superwoman cape on, right? And that we
Yeah.
have to do it all. The bottom line is always in view. I mean, I used to walk around the warehouse, and I see a person sitting down, and you know I would have my virtual reality, like augmented reality. I see this person standing, and I can just see money, like, cash,
Just
yeah, just flying. All right.
going down the drain.
Yeah, going on the drain, just flying around. I'm like, oh man, look, you gotta do some work, fella. I'm sorry, you can't just
Yeah.
stand around.
I hear you. All right. Well, thank you so much, SirDarryl. I want to wrap up with a couple of quick questions. One is, given that you're in the e-commerce space and on social media, there are dozens. I mean, I know I get sucked into the Instagram and Facebook ads all the time and end up buying stuff that I see online, especially if the ad's been showing to me for a while. What is your advice or recommendations or thoughts that you would speak to e-commerce business owners as it relates to getting their stuff together when it's time to outsource 3PL type of support?
Sure. So the first thing is kind of know where you are from a business standpoint, and kind of a peek behind the curtain. Our sweet spot, our ideal customer that we look for is at the tipping point when the balance between sales, marketing, and the warehouse operation is starting to teeter more toward the operation. So if you're at a point where you're spending, in an 8-hour day, you're spending 4 hours doing your own picking, your own packing, your own shipping, right? If you're
Mhm.
spending more than half your day in that part of the operation, you probably want to start to consider, right? Even with your own internal team, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they try to hire, they hire internally, they like
Mhm.
hire people to do that.
Mhm.
um, but then even with doing that, like, you still get to a point where it's you got like space limitations, like you're still working out of your home, you got folks, you're working out of your basement. Like, I met a young lady the other night, the other day, she was doing her fulfillment out of her basement, and she's doing you know 5, 6, 700 orders a day out of her basement, and she's
Ooh,
just like,
that's a lot.
it's too much. Like, it's taking over my house, taking over my. And then develop a checklist, and on that
Mhm.
checklist, for when you start to look for 3PL partners, look for, I'd say, proximity. So if you're a local business, and ideally you want to have a local 3PL. So
Mhm.
if you need to go visit the warehouse, you can. Most 3PLs, they have a 24-hour policy. If you let them know, within 24 hours, you can go by and see them. So local is preferred. When it comes to pricing, um, you want to target, um, I'd say, anywhere from like 15 to 25% of kind of what your product is. So let's say you
Mhm.
got a product that sells for $10, right? You want to get your fulfillment done for $2 to $3. Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry, 10 to 15. So a buck to a buck 50, maybe a buck 75. And
Yeah.
then in that same breath, kind of look at the range of services that they offer as well. So
Okay.
is it just fulfillment, like warehousing, storage, and fulfillment, or are there some additional services that they offer? And finally, last but definitely not least, is customer service, right? So
Okay.
you absolutely want a dedicated account representative. You want one throat to choke, like I like to say. Like you want to be able to pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, I've got an issue, I've got a problem. Can you help me? And if you're not able to reach that person, do they have another mechanism, email or phone number that you can get connected to the 3PL and get some support?
Perfect. Sir Dale, how can people get in touch with you, find more information, and do you have any special promotions or offers for anyone who would want to take advantage of your service?
Sure. So you can reach us at our website first and foremost, www.zipshipUSA.com. So zipshipusa.com. We're on social media, as you know. Instagram at zipshipusa is our social media name. And then if you're just looking for like general info at zipshipusa.com, and you'll get myself or someone from our team to respond. And we do have a full suite of services that we offer, everything that I just mentioned, including a dedicated account manager. And we've just launched that public locker network is really a growing thing. I know you and I, we talked about it a while back, but we
Mhm.
have finally launched our technology, our app. It's called Ship Safe Network. It's available on Google Play and the Apple Store and Shopify. So if you're a Shopify owner and you're looking to gain access to the growing public locker network, we've got about 1,000 locations nationwide right now, but that number is growing extremely, extremely quickly.
Wow.
And it enables your Shopify clients to ship stuff into a locker so they can avoid porch piracy and have a
Yeah.
lot more control of their shipments downstream. And you can also process returns.
Wow. A lot of amazing things in the works for you. Everyone, I will drop those links so you can access them if you want to check it out. Thank you so much again, Sir Darryl, for being a part of our show. For everyone else, until next time, thank you.
All right, thank you.